So I think that will probably be August or September. August or September. August or September.
This is how picky I am about this particular blue. I'm at Home Depot looking at all the paint chips to find this color. Alright, we just got another package from Bad Shape Yarn and I am so beyond excited. Talisman in DK, we already have Talisman in fingering, but the sunflower sweater is going to be all DK instead of fingering. I know I like this one. It's beautiful. It's just so warm and cozy. It's going to be perfect for the sunflower. So I'm excited to have a larger size of that. This is going to be for the center section of the sunflower. So for the circle on the inside, it's actually going to be a half circle that goes like from here all the way over around the back. But I think this is going to be beautiful. It has a lot of variation. It has some like olive colors, it's got some cinnamon colors, it's got some deep chocolates, a lot of variation. So the seed stitch I think will really show it off well. Okay, so I'm trying to get this thing untangled, but I did want to just mention it's so weird handling thicker yarn after having worked with fingering for so long. It feels so chunky. It's like if you'd always had like angel hair spaghetti, and then you go to like regular spaghetti. It's so weird and chunky. Okay, so it has actually been a full day of work. I still have all of my pieces here. These are all the half-size pieces. Here's the back. I cut out the centers of the flowers just so I could have a relatively small full-size piece to work. And what I wanted to do was start wrapping my head around the shape of these circles. So I started by making these templates for myself, which I'm basically just going to copy and paste. This is 1/6 of a circle, and I figured out where I want to have all the increases. I have all the rows up to 35. I'm going to be honest, a large portion of working through these problems is me making part of it and making part of the pattern and then actually crocheting it. You're definitely going to see some overlap because I don't just make the entire pattern and then make the final garment. It's kind of a bit of trial and error, and I don't want to spend days making the entire pattern only to realize that it was actually, you know, off by a millimeter or two, which adds up over hundreds of stitches. So I'm going to definitely be starting with these centerpieces, and I'm going to make the whole centerpiece and see how it works. Does it fit how I expect? Is it fitting the template? Because if I'm having a problem with stitch size, I need to know before I move on to figuring out how I'm doing the flowers. Alrighty, so I've gotten to 8, which just so happens to be the last round. You can see here I starts here, and this is actually the bottom of the garment. So I is just going to be back and forth like normal, so I don't have to worry about making a seam on the edge, although I think I've done a decent job of making it fit in. I am doing the twisting stitch wherever I can. It's kind of difficult to do with this many increases, but it gives it a slightly more random texture, which I think works. And this brown definitely seems to be working really well for this. Circles are done. So now we just need to figure out what on earth we're doing with the rest. Well, here we are at the most time-consuming part of this process, which is figuring out exactly how I'm going to lay out my stitches. Now, this one is a bit unique. It's definitely different than the Autumn Sweater project because this one is quite asymmetrical. And not only is there, the flower center over here, but I also want to have 2 rows going along each edge of the petal. At least where it touches the background, I think. And that's just to provide some additional, distinction to the edges of the petals. So there's going to be one that's yellow and then one that's blue that I'll add in here in a minute. But also I'm working from a circle, which is interesting. Each one of these lettered rows around the outside is about 3 degrees, which is about 19 across before you get one complete new row. So there's 9 here where you don't get anything happening, and then there's 10 where you have the new row started. But then once you have a whole bunch of these, you're going to have a lot of these little pieces taken out, so we have to kind of stagger it back and forth. There's also the edge of the bodice. This is the back piece. And how do we want these to match up? Do we want to have these really stark angles and then have a very sharp V here? Or do we want them to kind of meld together nicely? In which case, how are we going to make them merge nicely? I think what I'm going to do is, as I go up, we're getting further and further away from the flower. And we're also going to start growing the length that these are going to be at a perfect right angle away from each other. So we're at 1, then 2 out, then 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Just so that this will be a bit more, so we'll get a bit more gradual of a change here. But then also, how, does the rest of this look in between? I want to keep, until we reach the beginning of the curve here, I want it to be, a pretty good sunburst pattern other than the edges of the petals. But then, what do the armholes look like? And do I need to make sure that I do the armholes similar on both sides? Okay, so I've done a lot of work on the patterns. They are pretty much ready to go. I have the first few rows figured out. And I had gone about this far. I'd kind of finished the first petal or so. But I think I might take it out, because despite the fact that it's decent, there are a couple of things that I changed. Number 1, I added a second row of kind of outlining. So there's going to be a row of outlining for the flower itself, and then there's going to be a row of outlining in the sky. So it's basically going to follow the shape of the petal and then just continue on. So that's one change. The other change from what I did earlier was right here. Same thing. I just changed it so that row 3 on the back follows the edge of the petal instead of just these 3 going straight forward. other thing is, I'm thinking I might switch the stitch. Now, because I'm doing this in a starburst pattern, I'm going along the petals this way, and yet I want there to be lines in the petals the way you would expect. So this is the center of the flower. You would expect to have lines coming this way to make petals, right? So what I had been doing here was the pearl stitch, which is this one. It's a pretty simple stitch, very commonly used in Tunisian crochet. But I realized that I might actually want to do reverse stitch. So while this one does look similar, the one main difference is with the pearl stitch, I feel like you have a lot of visible vertical lines. This is pretty flat, like it's not curled away or anything. And it's fine, but I really want to have this very focused horizontal look, right? Okay, so I'm going to try to explain this color issue a little bit better. So there's two main things that we need to think about when we're choosing a stitch for this, for the petals. Number one is the entire reason why I'm doing this in a starburst pattern instead of, you know, just coming out like this, is because I want strong horizontal color gradients going this way. I'm using this, I believe it's called Talisman by Bad Cheap Yarn, and it's a gorgeous array of oranges and yellows, almost to white with a couple of specks of black in it, and it's gorgeous and it looks perfect for a sunflower. However, if you do a variegated yarn in, you know, doily type fashion, so going around this way, then you're going to have stripes of color going around this way, obviously. The entire point of me doing rows like this is so that I can get the color variation going in stripes that are horizontal by rows but will look vertical by petal. So I want to get that color variation. Number two thing we have to consider is the actual stitch type that we're going to do. Now, if you look through a lovely book such as the Tunisian Crochet Stitch Dictionary, you will see a lovely collection of various stitches, and there are not very many Tunisian crochet stitches with strong horizontal lines. You have a lot of vertical lines. The knit stitch, for example, has very strong vertical lines. The order to make these strong horizontal lines in the stitch type itself, there were basically only two options: the purl stitch and the reverse stitch. Now, originally I had done the purl stitch just because it's pretty simple and I'd already used it for another project. Tunisian crochet has two main steps in every row. You pick up stitches and then you pull through them all. So you're going in two directions, so you're going to have two lines of color in your purl stitch, or in any stitch really. So you can see here how this line of the purl stitch, actually we can probably see it better in this one. You've got this light stitch next to a darker stitch. You've got this light stitch next to a darker stitch. And this could kind of work if they were closer together. But the problem is that you're also seeing a lot of these vertical lines as well. So I feel like with the purl stitch, I've lost some of the horizontal focus that I was hoping to have. But I looked at the back and I was like, man, this is a really nice stripe here. You see how there's this light area that is slowly fading? And this light section is 6, 7, 8 stitches long. But over here, it's kind of harder to see and it's more like that. You can kind of see the difference between the purl stitch here with the vertical lines and the reverse stitch, which is from here to here. And again, you can kind of see how, like here, you've got this, and then 2, and then 1, and then 2, and then 1, and then 2, and it's very cohesive. So all three of these things that kind of look like a little chain, or like little links in a chain, these are all looping together. So not only do we have the horizontal focus in the texture, but you also have it pretty nicely in the color as well. Okay, so I think a reverse stitch is definitely the way that I want to go for the petals, because I think this looks a lot better than this. This looks confusing and distracting. This looks more cohesive. But I think what this means is I need to go ahead and take out all of this, even though it was, you know, a decent chunk of work and I really hate casting on. But I think we will make this work better if we go ahead and take it out. In which case, let's do that. Okay, petal number 1, take 2. I think it's a big improvement.
Here's our sleeve pattern. And for the blouse video, this pattern was not quite right because I was expecting the sleeve to be a little bit longer than this. But the shorter sleeve length that this actually is perfect for the blouse, for the sweater that I'm wanting to do. So I don't have to alter this pattern at all. I'm just going to go with it straight like this.
Alright, so I pretty much finished the whole top portion of the sleeve. Trying to keep it pretty simple. Basically every other-ish row, you have it coming in from the side, and then it gets 1, maybe 2 of these rows in here until it ends up being pretty much straight across. The other question is, do I want to have any decoration up here? And I kind of do. And there's a few different stitches in here that I was thinking I might want to use to give it kind of like a lacy look. So there's things like this that are fairly typical. Something that has a decent amount going into, I think it was this one that I was thinking about using. One of the biggest questions is how much does that change the ratio, so I have to do some experiments. Yeah, something like this as well. I think there was also in here some kind of, yeah, something kind of like this I think would work pretty well, where it's mostly the basic Tunisian crochet, but then it just has like a few basically missed stitches here and there to create these large diamonds. I think that's really cute. I do like the idea of having some sort of design like this here at the center. So this would basically be at the sleeve, and either have like a row of it from one side to the other, or have like 4 diamonds here. Another option would just be to have like basically this whole thing be kind of lacy. Okay, so I clearly made some kind of a mistake in this section here. I must have missed a chunk of it because this last row was only supposed to go to this part. See, here's the point. It's only supposed to go here, and it went all the way down to here. So there's definitely something wrong. I must just missed a big chunk. For the most part, I think it's fitting fairly well to the pattern. Like, that all seems decent. Maybe a smidge small, but not too bad. I will try it on, but I think I might frog this. I might frog all of it, because number one, I think I did these clusters wrong and it's a little odd, and I think it'd be cool to have, I'm not too crazy about the clusters in this section anyways. I think it might be nice to have this section be a smidge smaller, not much, maybe just like 2 or 3 rows. Part of it be that dark olivey green color, which I also have, and I think that will be really nice. I also think that I should have a little more definition between the different petals, because it all kind of looks the same. But yeah, I think it might be okay.
You have this one.
Especially because of the way that I have done some of the edges, but I feel like with how many petals I want to have, they're just gonna all kind of be smushed together. So it kind of works, but it might be nice to have like an outline color, maybe? For each petal. That could be cool. And yeah, I will check the sizing. For the most part, I think we're doing pretty good. I might start from scratch. Like, this is a decent chunk of work, but it hasn't taken me all that long. Yeah. So, close, but not perfect. Here is my yarn stash. Released all of my bad sheep yarn. I ended up with a ton of Lucky Charms for some reason. this might be interesting. I will pull it out even though it's not quite useful yet. Not that one. Here we go. This is what I'm thinking of for like that second ring of the center, because often in sunflowers you'll see kind of around the center it's got a few different colors, but that furthermost ring can sometimes have this olivey green color. So I'm thinking I might do this just to give that section a little bit more interest. I also have this color, which I don't really like all that much on its own, but it might be different enough from the talisman that I could use it to kind of create an outline color or just like a slight bit of differentiation. Okay, I think this is fitting fairly well. I might want to make it longer though, because that's where the armhole is. It's definitely pretty short. I'd already lengthened it, so yeah, we're going to lengthen it a little more. You know, I think maybe center size is okay, because it's so far to the side. We could have the petals come out a smidge more. So like just lengthen the petal part of it, like that. It feels like if I'm going to change something, I should change as much as I can. If I'm going to frog it, which I am going to do, I want to make all the changes that I will have to make. So I think I'm going to go with this set for the bodice because it appears everywhere. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Once you have a basic paper pattern, is figure out how your stitches are actually going to fill this space. Right, so the base layer of stitches is laid down. I'm going to add on the flowers tomorrow because it's getting late, but I have all 4 pieces done and ready for flowers. So we've got the center of the sunflower here and there. This is the back, or these are the 2 back pieces, because there's actually quite a bit of shaping going on here, which did make some of this a little extra complicated, but I think I've got it to a place where it's actually going to work pretty well. So basically when I actually make this, there aren't going to be like any of these seams. The only seam you're going to have really is here at the sunflower's center, and everything else is kind of going to be connected together. So the sides are going to be seamless, everything. I'm not going to make it in multiple pieces. Alright, hopefully the last package that we're going to have for this project. So we have 2 options for petal shadows, and we have an extra color for the center. So I have this one, which is chocolate, which looks a lot darker in person than it does on camera. And it has some variation. So this is Bonbon, this is Olive Tapenade, this is Ballad, and this one is definitely darker than Bonbon, which is very nice. and I think this would go very nicely with the ballad. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to switch this out for the olive one, even though I do like this one. I don't know, I feel like it's just a little too much, so yeah. The other color we have here is Dancing Flames, which I got to be a shadow color for the petals. Previously I had gotten Bonbon, which you can see here, but this one definitely feels like a brown. This one definitely feels more like a burnt orange. And again, they're both kind of darker in person than on camera. It will go better with this. Yeah, that seems like a lot better for a shadow than this one. Very happy with the colors I've got, and I'm glad that I will now be able to actually get started on this project. It's starting to look so good. It looks like a sunflower. Like, obviously there's a few little spots where it's a bit awkward, but honestly, I'm really happy with it. This is so cute. Okay, well, this is a problem because I only have one more skein of yarn, and I'm pretty sure this sleeve takes up more than a skein. This is actually the last row of Tunisian crochet for the sleeve puff, but I'm thinking based on this that I'm going to have to modify the puff. Okay, so today the goal is to finish the sleeve pattern and hopefully to get that done relatively quickly so that I can get back to working on the left sleeve. I'm really hoping that by adding more holes basically and making it 20 rows shorter that we're going to have enough space. Now I did some calculations. Rough estimates based on the sleeve I've already done. You can see where I started a new skein and you can see how far I got. Based on that, I believe that each skein can do about 36 rows. Now these are very wide rows, so it's not terribly surprising, and also Tunisian crochet is very dense, so that's not too terribly surprising. It's a lot less than I'd like, honestly, but the good news is that this new sleeve pattern is only 39 rows, so that's a skein plus 3 rows. Which means that each sleeve should be able to be done in 2 skeins and a tiny bit. And I think that tiny bit is probably going to be, hopefully, please, will be enough to do the tight cuffs and the little trims. So the shape of the top and the bottom are the same now. I just basically made the whole thing shorter, so instead of being like to here, it'll be like to here, which I'm okay with. Hopefully that will be sufficient, and hopefully the shape of it will still work. Now my goal is to actually graph the pattern for the lace kind of section, which is kind of like this, so it's going to be a diagonal square. I also want to say that I am writing down the instructions for both the left and the right sleeve at the same time, so hopefully that will help me do the right sleeve faster when it comes time to do that. And I am leaving the right sleeve as is mainly because I don't want to touch it until I'm sure that this one works. Because if we get to the end of this one and it's taking a lot more than a skein, I'm gonna have to figure something else out for this month's video. That's kind of where I'm at. So I have managed to finish 10 up through. Let me try this again. I have managed to finish through. I'm experiencing some technical difficulties here. I have finished through row 10, and that includes remaking the lace design on the sleeve as well. So I did all of that today, plus 10 full rows, and it's only 5. So I could do probably 2 or 3 more, maybe? Okay, so I had a bit of a panic because I was working on the left sleeve puff. I just finished making all the instructions yesterday, and I was excited to finish this today, but then I realized that I don't have enough, like I've run out of the blue, and this is still the old sleeve puff, so I think I've got basically enough to do both sleeve puffs, but then I wouldn't have anything left for the cuff. So I was trying to figure out how I could extend this a little bit, and one of the things that I loved the most about the autumn sweater project was the gradients. And I've got a lot of yarn that's all the same size, from the same brand, same fiber and everything, but I couldn't quite figure out how I was going to make it look. So I was going to make a bunch of different swatches. Basically, here was my plan. I was going to do this frosty one and then this one, and I was going to try it with cream over here, and then going to olive, which is in the center over here. That's some of this color. And then going from here to here to here, or trying from here to here to here to here, or something like that. But honestly, I think this is gorgeous, and my mom agrees, so there you go. But I think I might just do something like this, because I could back it up to about here, so that I would have a lot more space to do this change here. So I think the next thing for me to do is to actually weigh these two, split it in half by weight, and hopefully I'm going to design a fade so that by the time we are at the last row, it's going to be ready for just this. And this should do all of the cuffs, and hopefully that'll mean that I have plenty of blue left over for the hem and the neckline. I think that'll work. Hello. You're making this a little bit difficult. I finished with literally like 4 inches of thread, about 15 stitches this way, so I had to add on to the big ball just for like the last 15 stitches or so, which is absolutely ridiculous. But in other news, I think this looks really nice. Now I think I'm gonna give my little hypermobile thumb a break, because it's doing a lot of this, which is not good for it. So it's actually really warm at the moment. But so I think I'm done crocheting for today. However, I am gonna go ahead and frog all of this, because it's time. This needs to go. This is the old one. This is the new one. I'm so ready for this to be over. Excuse me, sir. You are kind of making this difficult. Huh? Okay, Tuesday morning, and we are halfway through row 34. I started up here. We're getting really, 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 really close. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to be done with this project. But I like how it's turning out. This is really pretty. I need to use more variegated yarn. It's just so nice. I like it. Okay, so I've been working on the cuff. Yesterday I made a lot of progress, but I didn't really like how it was turning out. I think that it was just too stretched out, so there weren't enough stitches. So I went back. Also, there was something weird about the way that the puff was gathered. I haven't ever done a gathered puff in crochet before. And the way that it was working just didn't look quite right. It was kind of like twisting it around. So I'm adding in, since I'm adding in a bunch of stitches, I'm having the inside of the arm part of the puff be 1-to-1.